The sun was hot on planet Dros 9. The wind was dry. Dust flew through the streets like ghosts. This was not Earth. This was a place where humans were not free. Aliens called Varcoons ruled here. They were big, strong, and cruel. Humans lived in fear. They worked. They served. And they stayed silent. In the middle of this dusty town, an old man pushed a small cart. The cart squeaked loudly with every turn of the wheel. It was filled with metal cans of water. The old man wore torn clothes. His face was full of wrinkles. People called him Water Grandpa. Others laughed and said, "He's too old. He should just sit and die." Every day, he walked from house to house, street to street, offering water to anyone who had tokens. He never spoke much. He only nodded. His back was bent. His hands shook. His eyes looked tired. Children ran after him sometimes. They threw small stones at his cart. The Varcoon guards watched and laughed. "He's no threat," one of them said. "Just an old bone bag." One day, 3 young Varcoon soldiers stood in his path. They were tall, with red eyes and sharp teeth. "Hey, old man," one said, "this is a no-walk zone now." They kicked the cart. The water cans fell and rolled in the dirt. The water spilled and soaked into the dry ground. The old man didn't react. He just looked down, slowly picked up a can, and placed it back. His hands moved with care, like he had done this 1,000 times. "Why don't you fight back?" The second soldier said, "You humans are so weak." "Maybe he's deaf too," said the third one. "Or just dumb." Then something strange happened. The old man looked up, very slowly. His face stayed calm, but his eyes changed. For just a second, his eyes flashed silver, like a hidden storm. The soldiers didn't notice it, but a small human boy watching nearby did. He stepped back, suddenly afraid. The old man spoke softly. His voice was dry but clear. "Old bones still remember the war. The Varcoons laughed again. "What war? You lost." The old man did not reply. He picked up the last water can, pushed his cart back on its wheels, and continued walking. As he walked away, dust covered his back. But his shadow seemed taller now. That night, the old man sat alone in a small room. There were no pictures, no family, only silence. He opened a secret panel under the floor. Inside was something hidden for many years. A small box. He opened it slowly. Inside, a metal badge with strange symbols. A broken photo of 5 humans in armor. A folded black cloth with red marks. And a knife made from Varcoon steel, clean, sharp, deadly. He held the knife for a moment. His hand did not shake now. He put everything back. Closed the box. Sat back in the dark. Meanwhile, in a Varcoon military room not far away. A soldier opened an old war file. He was bored and curious. As he flipped through pictures, he stopped suddenly. He zoomed in on one photo. There was a human soldier, tall, strong, holding the same knife. The eyes, they looked familiar. Exactly like the old water vendor from today. The soldier frowned. "Commander," he called, "I think we have a problem." Back in the town, the old man walked. Again with his cart the next morning. Same streets, same sun, same squeaky wheels. People saw him and laughed. The Varcoons ignored him, but something had changed. The war had not ended for him. It had only gone quiet. And now, something was waking up again. A voice speaks softly. "Tell me, when do you stop being a soldier? When the war ends?" "No, you stop when the war inside you goes quiet." Bang! A door explodes open. Gunfire. Screams. Alien voices shouting. The year is 23 years ago. The place, Earth's last outpost in Sector 9. The war between humans and Varcoons is at its peak. A human squad moves through fire and rubble. They wear black armor, marked with a red symbol, a broken blade through a star. Leading them is a tall man with sharp eyes and fast hands. He gives no orders. His team follows without asking. He moves like a shadow, silent, deadly, focused. His name, Commander Rain, the same man who now pushes a water cart. But back then, he was a ghost to aliens. They called him the Butcher of Drows. Not because he killed many, because he killed fast, without sound, without mercy. Cut back to present-day Drows 9. Old Rain wakes up from the floor. He had slept there by choice. Beds made him feel soft. He opens his eyes slowly. Not with peace, but with caution. He stands, drinks some water, and looks outside. People pass him without care. They think he's just a shadow in their busy day. But inside his mind, he's still in the war. Every face he sees, every Varcoon he passes, he remembers where to strike, how to drop them, how to survive. Far away, in a Varcoon data center. A young alien officer named Krull studies an old war archive. He's reviewing a list of human war criminals. He finds an old file marked Classified, Human Unit Black Echo. He opens it out of curiosity. Photos load slowly. Burned records. Glitched names. But one photo loads clean. A black armored human with cold eyes standing on a pile of rubble. Varcoon bodies around him. Face match, 98.7%. To the water vendor seen in town, Krull swallows hard. This can't be him. He's old, broken. Still, he sends the photo to High Command with one message. Possible identity match. If true, we may have a serious problem. Flashback continues. Earth years ago. Commander Rain's squad enters a Varcoon base silently. They are outnumbered 20-1. Rayn signals with 2 fingers. No words. His team moves like machines. They disable alarms, take out guards, plant charges. Rain finds a data terminal and downloads alien war codes. He knows this could turn the tide of the war. Suddenly, they're spotted. Sirens scream. Red lights flash. Rain draws his knife. Not a human blade, but one made from Varcoon steel, stolen from a dead general. The squad fights their way out. Not all survive. Rain escapes, bleeding, carrying a dying teammate. That night after the mission, Rain disappears. No one sees him again. People say he died. But the Varcoons never found his body. Present day, back in Drows 9, 3 Varcoon officers arrive in town. They're not soldiers, they're hunters. Black-cloaked, silent, watching. They visit the local command post. A high-ranking alien says, if this is truly the Butcher of Drows, do not engage. Observe only. But hunters don't follow rules. In the streets, Rain walks again with his cart. Same route. Same people. A child offers him a small flower. You're not like the others, she says. You look dangerous. He smiles gently. Danger is what people don't see coming. He moves on. Behind him, one of the hunters follows. Quiet steps. Watching. Measuring. That night, as Rain closes his shop. A voice in the shadows says, old man, water is not what you carry, is it? Rain doesn't turn around. He says softly, are you here to test a theory? Or meet your end? Silence. Then, a knife slashes toward him from the dark. Rain moves, fast. Too fast for an old man. In one motion, he catches the attacker's wrist, breaks it, and drops the alien with a single strike to the neck. He leans down and whispers, tell your masters, ghosts don't die, they wait. He walks away into the shadows. The Varcoon hunter sat in silence. His arm was broken. His pride was shattered. He had trained in 12 alien martial arts. He had killed humans twice his size. But the old man had beaten him in 2 moves. And now, the hunter was afraid. Not of death. He was afraid of a memory. He whispered to his commander. It wasn't just a man. It was a weapon that remembers how to kill. Across the colony, life continued like normal. Humans still cleaned alien boots. They still served in dirty kitchens. They still walked with eyes down, but something was different now. A rumor had started. Quiet, small, but spreading fast. The old waterman fought back. He broke an alien's arm. He didn't run. He didn't kneel. People didn't believe it at first. But then more whispers came. Someone saw a mark on the attacker's neck, the mark of a human pressure point strike. Only trained war operatives knew that. Only the old squads from the human army. The question passed from mouth to mouth. Was he one of them? In a dark corner of the colony, inside an old repair shop, a man with oil-stained hands worked on broken machines. He heard the rumor. He stopped his work, took off his gloves, opened a drawer. Inside, a photo. 5 humans in black armor. He touched one face, the man in the center. "Rain, you're still alive?" He smiled slowly and began packing. Back in the Varcoon command post, panic was rising. The hunter's report had reached high command. An old general slammed his fist on the table. "You fools mocked a legend. Now you've woken it up." A younger officer laughed. "He's just one man." The general growled. "One man, yes, but he wasn't alone back then, and he's not alone now." They sent out a kill order. "Bring the vendor in, dead or alive." That night, 4 armored Varcoon soldiers moved through the colony. They reached Rain's small home. It was empty. Only a burned photo was left on the floor. One of the soldiers picked it up, squinted. "Who are these people?" The lights went out. Total darkness. Then ... A whisper from behind them. "You made a mistake." The soldiers turned. Too slow. The first one dropped. Silent. The second fell with a knife to the neck. The third reached for his gun. It jammed. The fourth ran through narrow streets, breathing hard. He didn't stop until he reached the command center. "He's not alone," he gasped. "He's rebuilding the squad." Meanwhile, deep in the underground tunnels, Ryan stood with 2 others now. One was the mechanic, big arms, slow speech, sharp mind. The other was a quiet woman with a sniper's eye. They had found each other again, old bonds, never broken. Rain looked at a map of the colony. He marked 3 points. "Fuel depot, Combs Tower, guard station. We're hitting back?" The sniper asked. Rain nodded. "Not yet, just reminding them. We still know how." Outside, in the colony streets, a young human boy practiced with a stick. He had seen Rain fight. He wanted to learn. His older sister watched nervously. "Don't dream, it's dangerous." The boy looked up. "But what if he's real? What if he really fought them?" She had no answer, because deep down, she believed it too. Back in the Varcoon base, alarms were triggered. 3 small attacks had happened in one night. A fuel pipe exploded. No deaths, but full alert. A Varcoon Combs Tower sent out human music instead of patrol reports. A guard station found a single black glove placed on its control panel. The message was clear. Rain wasn't hiding anymore. He was teaching fear again. Rain sits on a rooftop, watching the stars. The sniper asks, "Do you think the rest of the squad will come?" Rain replies, "If they hear I'm alive, they won't walk, they'll run." Asterisk, the galaxy had forgotten their names. No medals, no statues, no pages in history. Books, only scars, shadows, and silence. They had once fought side by side, 5 of them. They weren't the best soldiers. They were the ones sent after the best had failed. Now one by one, they were hearing the call again. Asterisk, a man with a limp walked through fire and ash. Worked alone, broke rocks, dug holes, spoke to no one. People called him the mute miner. But once, he was called Joran Breaker Vale, the demolition expert of Rain's squad. He heard the news from a trader. Some old man on Droz 9 broke 3 Varcoon guards. Didn't even breathe hard. Joran didn't speak. But that night, he burned his work uniform and dug up a box buried near a dead tree. Inside, A detonator, a half-melted metal, and a message chip with a red symbol. The broken blade through a star. He whispered one word, rain. Then he left. A woman stood over a Varcoon soldier. He was bleeding. Afraid. She was healing him. But inside her, there was no kindness. Only control. She was called Nurse Rel now, but once she was Kira Ven, sniper, field medic, and shadow. Killer. She had given up war. She had learned to breathe slowly, to live dot until she saw the message. A symbol scratched into the dirt outside her shelter. The broken blade, no name, no voice. But she knew. That night, she packed her bag, picked up her old scope, and said to the mirror, one last shot. A tall man was fixing a crushed compactor. His hands were strong, but careful. The kids here called him Uncle Wrench. He fixed things, made toys. Smiled often, but once. He was Kel Bren, Rain's right hand. The tactical mind behind every escape. When the war ended, he chose peace. He buried weapons and built homes. Then one morning, he found a note stuck in his tool bag. No words, just the symbol. He stared at it for hours. Then he wiped the grease from his hands and said, guess rest time's over. Rain stood by an old wall, staring at a map drawn in chalk. Next to him, the sniper Kira cleaned her rifle. The mechanic Kel sat, sharpening a long tool that used to be a weapon. Joran, the silent one, leaned against the wall, watching flames dance. No one spoke. No one needed to. These were not friends. These were family built in fire, years apart. But in one glance, it all returned. The battles, the cold nights, the orders given with a hand signal, the trust that could not be explained in words. Kira finally spoke. So, what's the mission, Commander? Rain didn't smile. But his eyes softened. We remind them who we were. Then we show them who we still are. Kel stood. We'll need weapons. Real ones, plans, maps. Joran just nodded once and tossed a small detonator on the table. It blinked red. Outside. In the streets, the Varcoons grew tense. The humans walked with their heads higher. Not loud. Not bold, but aware. They felt something in the air. Like the wind had changed. A child whispered to another. They say the waterman has a team now. Like ... soldiers? No, like ghosts. High above, a Varcoon general stood watching the city through glass. He spoke to his assistant. Begin lockdown. No human moves without a reason. The assistant nodded. You think it's real? This old squad? The general stared into the sky. I don't care if it's real. I care that they believe it is. The Varcoons believed in control through fear. They didn't kill humans often. But they made sure every human remembered they could. That's why, on a gray morning, they gathered the colony in the center square. Guards stood on rooftops, sniper. Drones hovered in the air. On the platform stood Commander Scar, a tall, blue-skinned Varcoon with a metal jaw and cold eyes. He raised a loudspeaker. Attention, human workers, he said. There are false stories spreading. Lies about war criminals returning. Do not believe them. Do not protect them. We gave you peace. But we can take it back. He smiled, but then something strange happened. A single spark. A boy in the crowd took out a can of water ... and poured it on the ground ... in silence, the symbol of the old vendor. The start of the rumor ... the crowd gasped. A guard aimed his gun. Rain stepped forward. Nobody saw where he came from. He had been just another face in the crowd. But now, he stood tall. Back straight, hands calm. Eyes burning like old stars. You gave us silence, Rain said, not peace. The guard raised his weapon. Shoot him, Scar ordered. But before the trigger could be pulled, bang! A shot from the distance, not at Rain. At the gun. The weapon flew out of the guard's hands. A perfect shot. From the sniper Kira, the crowd didn't scream. They stood frozen. Time had stopped. Rain stepped up on the platform beside Scar. The Varkun guards hesitated. They had orders, but this didn't feel like a moment to act. Rain looked at the crowd. "You've forgotten who you are," he said quietly. "That's not your fault. They made you forget. But let me remind you." He took out a folded piece of cloth. Opened it. It was old, torn, black with a red mark. The symbol, a broken blade. Through a star. The crowd went silent. Then someone whispered, "The old war squads." Rain raised the cloth above his head. "We are still here." Behind the scenes, explosions rocked the sky. JORR had planted charges on a Varkun fuel depot. They lit up like sunrise, fire and smoke spreading fast. In another zone, Kel and a few others disabled a guard station, cutting power to surveillance towers. The colony lights flickered. For the first time in years, the Varkuns couldn't see everything. Panic spread among the alien ranks. The commander shouted, "Arrest every human leader. Find the old squad." But the humans were already moving underground. Hidden tunnels, old war paths. Resistance routes reawakening. Later that night, in a secret base beneath a destroyed library. Rayn sat with a dozen new faces, young, angry, afraid. Some were farmers, others were kitchen workers. None had weapons, but all had fire in their eyes. Rain stood. "Today you saw fear change sides," he said. "They are not gods. They bleed. We will teach them how again." Kira added, "If you're here to watch, leave. If you're here to fight, stay. We'll teach you." They stayed, every one of them. Far above, in the Varkun command station orbiting DROS-9. General Vac sat in silence. His assistant read the report aloud. "Civilian rebellion in lower sector. Old squad confirmed alive. Human population showing signs of loyalty shift." Vac leaned back. "So the ghost returns with fire." He looked out the window. "Then we give them a storm. Asterisk, they are insects. Outnumbered, under-equipped, untrained, but they are adapting." One man broke the silence. A symbol followed. Then fire. "This is not war. This is infection. And I will burn it out." Asterisk, the skies over Dros 9 turned red, not from sunset, but from smoke. The rebellion had started 2 days ago. Since then, 7 Varkun stations had fallen, not by firepower, but by sabotage, by clever ambushes, by knowledge of every pipe, tunnel, and blind spot in the colony. Asterisk, Rain stood before a group of young rebels. "You will not beat them with strength," he said. "You will beat them with surprise." He pointed to a map made of paper and oil stains. "They don't expect you to think. That's your weapon. We take the com tower at 0400, then the fuel lines, then the water hub." Kira added, "Move fast. Hit hard. Leave nothing behind." They weren't soldiers. They were workers, mothers, students. But that night, they moved like ghosts. Asterisk, Kel led 3 rebels through a maintenance shaft. They climbed inside the tower's wiring system. Instead of destroying it, they hijacked the signal, broadcasting Rain's voice to every Varkun channel. "You ruled through fear. Now, it's your turn." Then, blackout. No comes, no orders. The Varkun patrols moved like blind giants. Asterisk, on the ground, a full battle erupted. Rebels used old mining carts as shields. They rigged traps with kitchen grease and machine parts. JORR and the Silent One blew up a Varkun 2 transport by hiding a charge in a metal food crate. One soldier screamed, "Where are they learning this?" Another replied, "They aren't learning, they're remembering." Asterisk, Rain moved through smoke and gunfire like he was part of the battlefield itself. A Varkun lieutenant spotted him and charged. "You're just a relic." The alien shouted. Rain stepped aside, tripped him with a pipe, and dropped the alien in one precise hit to the throat. Relics are what history is built on. General Vac stood in front of a war map, fists clenched. Why haven't they been crushed? His aide replied, they're striking and disappearing. Our soldiers are afraid to patrol alone. Vac stared at Dros 9's burning surface. Then I'll give them something to fear. Rain received intel. A Varkun supply convoy was heading through the canyon. Perfect ambush site. He took a small team, but it was a decoy. They were waiting for him. The canyon closed. Drones dropped nets from above. EMP pulses hit the rebels' gear. Rain fought. He took down 3 Varkuns. But he was surrounded. A spear hit his leg. A blast knocked him down. Blood on the sand. General Vac arrived personally. Rain lay on the ground, injured but conscious. Vac knelt beside him. Was it worth it? This little fire show? Rain looked up. Blood on his lip. Eyes steady. And then, he smiled. You think this ends with me? Vac's smile vanished. While the convoy trap happened, Kira and Kel led a different team. Target, Varkun command post. They blew the foundation supports, collapsing the structure inward, not killing many, but destroying their database and chain of command. Kira's words echoed. The old man was the spark, but we are the fire. Varkuns broadcast a message to all humans. The rebel leader has been captured. Obey or face extinction. They showed Rain, bloodied on his knees. But in the background, on a wall, someone had painted it. The broken blade, in red. A symbol. A promise. Tell me the story again, the child said. The old woman smiled as she cleaned a broken water can. Which one, little one? The one about the old man. The one who sold water but wasn't really a vendor. The woman paused. Then quietly she began. Once, on a planet called Dros 9, there lived an old human no one feared. He pushed a cart, gave water, and said little. Aliens laughed at him. Children mocked him. And the world forgot his name. But what they didn't know was that he had once led shadows into battle. He was a blade hidden in dust. Rain sat in chains, blood on his shirt, his breath slow. But his eyes were sharp, alive, unafraid. Outside, the Varkuns prepared for a public execution. We cut off the head, said Commander Scar. The fire dies with him. But Scar was wrong. The fire had already spread. Kira stood before hundreds of humans, farmers, students, medics, children with weapons too big for their hands. They think killing Rain will break us, she said. They forget ... he didn't make the rebellion. He made us, Joran nodded. Kel pulled out an old Varkun map. We hit the tower. Full assault, Kel said. We get him back. Or we bring the tower down. The crowd didn't cheer. They just moved, like gears clicking into place. Rain training soldiers on a dirt field. Kira teaching a child how to aim. Kel fixing old shields from scrap. A human hand painting the broken blade on every wall. The quiet, steady rise of a people no longer afraid. A giant crowd stood in silence. Snipers, mechs, drones above. Rain was pushed forward, chained, forced to kneel. General Vac stood over him. Any last words? Rain looked up at the sky. Just this. You're already too late. The ground shook. An explosion from below. Tunnels caved in under the guards. Smoke, dust, panic. Suddenly, from every side of the plaza, humans appeared. They weren't soldiers, but they moved like warriors. Kira dropped 2 drones with clean shots. Joran set off a chain of hidden charges under the Varkun mechs. Kel led a group with shields made from scrap doors. Pushing forward, Rain broke his own chains with a hidden pin in his boot. He stood. He walked through the smoke as the battle unfolded. You should have killed me when I was just a man, he told Vac. Now I'm something else. Vac charged with a plasma blade. Rain picked up a broken pipe. Old versus new. Warrior versus monster. They fought, raw, brutal, fast. Vac had size and tech. Rain had memory and purpose. In the final moment, Rain stepped aside, letting Vac's blade bury into metal. Stuck, Rain whispered, "This is for every forgotten name." He struck once. Clean. Vac fell. Asterisk. The Varkun flag burned. The tower collapsed. The humans took the plaza. Not with shouts, but with silence. The kind of silence that follows freedom. Asterisk. The colony was rebuilding. Varkuns who surrendered were disarmed and left the planet. Rain refused leadership. He walked again. Back to the water cart. Children now walked beside him, asking questions. He didn't say much. He never did, but he smiled. "And that," the old woman said to the child, "is how the man with the water cart ended the war." The child blinked. "But where is he now?" The old woman pointed to the door. "Some say he still walks the colony, quiet, watching. Others say he disappeared. But me?" She handed the child a small red cloth that folded. A broken blade through a star. "I say legends never die.